One of the common questions I often get from companies is timing. Now, obviously, it's very important to get the timing done as quickly as possible to get a group upstanding in a new jurisdiction. What are your experiences of companies going through the Allinial Global process and working on cross-border setups? How quickly can things be done, do you think?
Yeah, incredibly quickly. And it's a massive priority. And you know what I think is interesting, again, about that locally independent is each of the firms that you are interacting with and your clients are going to interact with, each one of them have their own brand, and they come in to stand up and make sure that your clients are well taken care of, more so, I think, than you see in some type of, an international brand or some type of an organization that says that they could do it all. Well, if I'm sitting in New York City and my client has a particular need in the UK, in some of these other relationships, that UK firm may not be as interested in it. But I know if I call you about it, you consider me a customer and my client as a customer, putting us at a very different profile and relationship, I think, than you see in some of those that are just, run-of-the-mill swapping clients back and forth. So the speed, I think, can actually be faster under that. And what I also like about what your firm's doing, and we're going to kind of share this, I think, with many of our other firms, is this idea of an international business manager, someone who is that focal point for the client, is going to help the client through that orientation process, because you aren't oriented on day one, you are oriented probably in the first 2 years. And having that at that client's disposal actually, I think, speeds up the process even more so, because in other scenarios, it is the partner who had the client relationship who is charged with that, but if they are the audit partner or the tax partner who still are doing those things by day, they may not have necessarily be managing that full portfolio for the client.
Yeah, and we've learned, we have over 70 years of experience in helping groups expand internationally. And what we have learned is that international business manager role is absolutely central to getting it done in the right way, because often the questions up front are different to those that are needed after 12 months, knowing what you don't know, thinking about banking, thinking about regulatory aspects, insurance. Often these don't fall within a normal Blick Rothenberg role because we are an accountant and a tax advisor. But knowing to ask the question and help the company understand what else they need to be thinking about, that's really, really important to us. And it's what served us so well in making sure we're giving exceptional client service with all of our portfolio companies. The other thing that I think comes up a lot is with I suppose the standard model of setting up an entity in a new jurisdiction. It can take longer versus the professional employment organisation model, where the unique selling point there is, can be done in a matter of hours, and all of the payroll functions are dealt with on day one. We find that works really well in certain circumstances. Post an M&A transaction where you don't have entities and you need to get people on the payroll, or perhaps where you've got one or two people in a new country. We also find, though, that there is risk with the PEO model. It doesn't necessarily deal with all the tax filings and the VAT or sales tax. So I think we would strongly advise groups to think about timing in a broader sense of making sure you're being compliant from a regulatory perspective and making sure you're getting that upfront experience as well.
Well, I think to that point, I do think that you are losing the ability to tailor what you need for the particular client in a PEO relationship. It's out of the box. It's very standardized in so if you can fit in that box, okay. But even then, as you mentioned, that only satisfies from the tax risk standpoint, the payroll aspect of that. There are so many other tax risks that still need a trusted advisor inside of a professional accounting firm to be able to deliver on that. So it's only one piece of the puzzle. Maybe you decide that it is a PEO for the client, but the client, I think ultimately it is having that conversation first and foremost with the trusted advisor, outside of having any of these other conversations, because you have to look at it from a total picture.
Yeah, and these are the conversations we're having across multiple jurisdictions, because often the company isn't just expanding in one particular place, they're expanding in multiple countries,
Yep.
each with their own unique rules, each with their own unique tax authority approach, and it does need a very kind of bespoke strategy really to get to the right answer. In terms of technology, we touched on that a little bit earlier. What do you think is really the key themes in sort of technology and groups expanding internationally at the moment?
I think some of the challenges is it depends on the market, right? So some markets have a much greater limitation in what technology becomes available to them. And we're seeing that with some of our member firms who are supporting clients in a different way, that they may not have the same type of ERP capability in particular markets that you'll see in others. What I like, again, about the Blick Rothenberg approach and looking at the different ways is offering multiple opportunity for solutions and finding the best fit for that particular client in that particular industry in that particular market, versus saying, again, if it were coming out of a national or an international provider, common brand, that they say you must use this because they only have that one solution that is supported. Now, I do think that it's up to the firm to help in that decision on what's best. We're the experts in what technology people should be using. But knowing that there are a multitude of technologies available, I think, become really important.
Yeah, and I think being a member of Allinial Global as an association, we have the flexibility there to not be bound by common branding or being, we were all independent member firms, and I think that gives us a great perspective on what we can and can't offer. Well, thank you, Mark. It's been an interesting conversation, and welcome to London, and we look forward to inviting you back here shortly.
Great, thank you, James.
Thank you.